All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us to promote these stories that so many of our magicians with Lazaris have worked on. And thanks to Mary Woodhouse here for putting them together and starting this project and being not only the spearhead, but our leader and dear friend who has supported us and helped weave all this magic together. And I don't even know how she did it, but she did through COVID. And we're
Yeah.
so grateful to you and all the work that you've put into these anthologies because it has brought us together like nothing else. And it's just been such a fun experience. I'm deeply touched by this, Mary, and I thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you, Dana, and everybody who's been involved. Patricia Walker and Pamela Dixon were big volunteers in all of it. And it for me and for us, it has been something that's brought us together. It's how I met all of you. It's how I met all of you.
True, true.
And that's a wonderful thing. And just because I guess because it's being recorded and we don't know who's going to be watching, right? Well, so there's two books. There's Voices of Magic, the first book, and then there's the one we're reading from tonight is Voices of Magic 2. And both of these are anthologies of personal stories by magicians who are what we call ourselves people who work with Lazaris. And Lazaris is an entity who's a teacher who's channeled by Jack Purcell and has been teaching for 50 years, right? He's been with us for over 50 years now. Yeah. And put out so many recordings and teachings and woven together all kinds of meditations and techniques and discussions, and it's really an amazing body of work, an absolutely amazing body of work. And then the idea for the books did come up like just before COVID. That the timing was amazing. The idea of it came up like February 2020. And it's like, oh, it'd be really nice if, and I think I put out a call. It was like, it'd be really nice if somebody who knows how to make books would do this. This is a great idea for somebody else.
Oh, well.
And then it was like, nobody, really picked up that idea. And then there's a well-known phrase, a well-known quote by somebody, I don't know who, that said, if there's a book you want to read, and it doesn't exist, write it. So that's basically where I said, it's like, well, I think I can do this. And I've been working on my own writing a little bit over the years. And then Patricia really just jumped on right away. There was another woman, Valerie Yersh, who jumped on right away. And then Pamela came in later. And we started doing these Zooms. So everybody was on Zoom. So COVID kind of helped a little bit because other than that, our lives were so busy. And I think in a way, because people were aching to connect somehow and have the time because they couldn't do anything or go anywhere, that we started getting together and doing this. And it didn't, take off right away. It took a while. It took a while actually to kind of get going and get people to actually write some stories. But then as we did, it's a very special thing. And we have a unique spot. I think what I really love is our voices as magicians. Like we have a unique spot in the Lazaris land. And now our stories are held. It's almost like a crystal, right? It gets held and released. And the project has helped me understand how much I love writing and how much I love stories and how much I really love hearing people's personal stories of magic, because it's so vulnerable and so unique. And we all live in such a different way than many people do, and it's been wonderful to connect. So with that little introduction, tonight we are here to hear a few stories read out loud. It's another thing we've realized, that There's a great joy in reading the book, but there's also a great joy in hearing the authors read their stories. We have Dana, who's going to read her story, My Cauldron of Magic, I think is the name of it. And LeeAnn is going to read her story, which is, I know the name of it, but I'm choking here. It's All an Illusion, Becoming a Leader by Choice. So I don't know who wants to go first tonight. LeeAnn?
I will. Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's All an Illusion. So let me just say, I know you all probably know LeeAnn, but for somebody who may be seeing this recording later, let's just say a little bit about LeeAnn. Okay. LeeAnn Romine has worked professionally as a psychic and spiritual mentor for the past 36 years. She's focused much of her time and energy with leaders in many areas of business, working for more global impact. She's been an avid manifestation student. Her business, Ignite You Global, has helped clients create deeper, more meaningful businesses. She resides in beautiful West Virginia with her husband, Robert, and enjoys traveling and meeting new magicians all around the world. Learn more at her website, LeeAnnRomine.com. Okay, LeeAnn.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And the last time we read this, he and I, we swapped stories. Yeah. So this will be the first time I get to read it. So it's kind of cool. It was foggy like in a dream, but more intense than I had ever experienced before. I was half sitting, half lying on a cold, hard surface, trying to focus my eyes, but it was of no use. Anxiety started to blanket over me, and I realized my mother-in-law was so close I could see nothing but her beautiful face, that face that had given me support when I needed it most, and had also been the one who had judged me so harshly many years ago. I wasn't the type that she wanted for her son to marry. I already had a teen son and was a bit on the wild side. Not at all, right, Dana? Not at all. Was a psychic and had connected with her son through our shared love of the New Age movement in the late 1980s. All wrong for a Bible Belt West Virginia woman. I knew she had accepted me, though, when I gave her a granddaughter. But we kept what I did with readings and ghost hunting very quiet. Yet here she was telling me I had to go back. The cancer that had put me here in this altered state was in my mind, a way to release and let go. Betty Ann said, go back now. Me, Rob has the kids all taken care of, and I'm tired. Betty Ann, I know. Yes, he does. And it's the ones that you're here to guide that need you now. Now take a breath. And I jolted awake in a recovery room, telling the sweet nurse who was trying to calm me down that I promised to follow through. I could do this. The last 20 years of self-discovery, spiritual awakening, and work I had experienced flowed through my mind, and as the nurses were wheeling me into the recovery room, my dearest friend came, a beautiful shimmering oval spark of light that grew as it always did. They were there, more real than I could ever remember. I desperately wanted to blend, just meld away into their love and wisdom, as I had done so many times before in meditation. Instead, they shoved me back into my body. My chest hurt, breast cancer. My mind was racing, and I had heard that voice that blended. Lazaris, my dear love, Rob, it's okay. Take a breath. I've got you. We love you. My daughter's sweet face was what brought me back with a smile. I'm sure that was her birthday, actually, through that whole thing. It was really kind of cool. I'm sure you can relate. You know, one of those defining moments in life when all the whys come through into complete focus. Why, this is really getting me. It's really hitting me. So this is some really good energy here. Why I was born to open my spiritual gifts into a family terrified of them. Why had I experienced the loss of my firstborn at age 15? Why did I continually come back to my spiritual gifts, each tragedy? And the deep, deep pain and weariness that I had carried with me for as long as I could remember. At that moment, it all whirled into a gem of understanding. One world was indeed becoming new. Our world was indeed becoming new. I remembered that in a Lazaris tape, this amazing reality we are Sharing is becoming new. Our earth is rebirthing, our bodies, our minds, and yes, our spirits also, all becoming new. In that newness, there are dark times, hidden truths, and a need for those who can light the path. The realization that I deeply loved and was deeply loved was the salve I needed to entice me back, and yet still I hesitated. The old "your life flashes before you" was in full swing, and I was enjoying the emotional scenes that I was inside of. I can even now vividly remember the field of flowers and grasses with sunlight and a warm breeze that I was in when my familiar and much loved friend Lazaris came to me. The myriad of lights in an elliptical form, as they grew to be just as tall as me, floated there. I'm having trouble seeing here. I should have done change the lighting. It was a blending time, a time I have cherished many hundreds, if not thousands of times in my life with Lazaris. I melded into that amazing, energetic, swift, and blended with them, feeling more loved than I had ever allowed myself to feel in meditation. Jack's voice, the one I knew so well from the recordings I've enjoyed for the first 36 years, was crisp and clear. Another wonderfully deep Lazaris quote ran through my mind as well. It's all an illusion. The illusion that has width, depth, height, and meaning. Life hasn't happened to me, it happened for me. To mold, guide, and craft me into a perfect place to pick up that lantern and light the path going forward. In fact, as I took none of those souls that I have been doing readings for over the past 25 years, all of them are leaders. They are the ones who are making new pathways for others to follow. With the old paradigm falters and the old teachings didn't cut it, there was those who had once in my world goes to for guidance. Excuse me, I'm really having trouble seeing here. My mother-in-law's voice still rings in my ears. Go back now, they need you. It seems to me that all of those who have been involved with the Lazaris material are a conduit for light and hope, love and wisdom, from well beyond the human experience. And you, yes, you, if you're reading these words, you too are a thread of light within you that your world is open to receive now. So I ask, what in my story has triggered for you? Empathy, compassion, cynicism, memories? Follow that thread and let your light shine. We can all have a positive impact in this world becoming new. Our world is going to heal and become more with or without you. It's a choice. Do you choose the path of, I'm really having trouble seeing here, path of sharing your light? My path after that immensely sacred experience took on a whole new depth. I no longer follow anyone. I know my path. A leader who supports conscious leaders who are making huge changes and impact in our world, becoming new. I'm no longer satisfied providing a one-at-a-time readings. I'm a mentor, partner in creating magical realities with amazing souls here with purpose and passion. A little top tip, find the passion and purpose along with depth and alignment that you know is yours without any more waiting. Find a guide who has been on a similar journey. They will help collapse the time it takes for you to have more impact and enjoy life. And I thank you guys for holding on to me. My mother-in-law is right here with me, and there's a lot going on. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, LeeAnn. Thank you, thank you. Oftentimes I just like to take a little pause and let that all just wash over you.
You know, the Lazaris materials for me have been life, literally. It's been a day in and a day out process for all of these years. And I don't know, it really has. So coming full circle with that is, thank you for letting me read that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll leave time for maybe talking, commenting, asking questions after both the stories are read. But thank you for that, for sharing that, LeeAnn. Okay, Dana. Now again, I'll read about you, Dana, even though everybody must know about you. But what if somebody, listens to the recording and they don't know you? What about that, right? So we will just say Dana, who is going to read her story, My Cauldron of Magic, enjoys living in the mountains of Arizona with her fiance and 4 leggeds. She spends her time Zooming a lot with clients, working for the nonprofit Mountain Spirit Healing and Educational Center, MSHEC3, which also has a website, and the for-profit Mountain Spirit Co-op, MSCO, that also has a website. The two organizations are comprised of practitioners and clients from around the globe. In her spare time, Dana enjoys working in her gardens, reading, writing, traveling, being in ceremonies, and spending time in nature. It's been a passion of Dana's to bring people from all walks of life together to work in harmony for the highest good with harm to none. Dana loves being part of a collective of incredibly talented, compassionate, and heart-centered magicians, helping to heal our community and birth a new world one session at a time. And Dana, you've been very successful in doing all those things.
I'm very blessed. That is true. I'm very, very blessed.
Thank you for all you have done and all you've created and brought together with people.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, we're going to be 20 this year. Can you believe it?
Wow. Congratulations.
I know, right? We were thinking about doing the thing, but I don't know. It's pretty damn expensive where I want to do it, those fuckers. Maybe we'll get a big thing come in, a donation. We'll see. All right. So my Cauldron of Magic. I will dive right into this puppy. At age 7, I participated in levitating someone, and shortly after, I had my first conscious out-of-body experience. Being clairvoyant, I learned from and played with native people who lived on the land long before us. I experienced shamanistic rituals and journeys that I would only understand the depth of their meaning decades later. Though I loved the ceremony at church, their teachings left me confused and angry. I felt surrounded by hypocrites. I hadn't a clue how to make peace with it all. I loved Jesus, Mary, and all the love they shared, yet couldn't understand how religion had become so cruel. At 8, Jesus came to my calling to banish the pedophile ghosts that haunted my bed each night. Jesus showed me a depth of compassion I never knew existed. It was beyond my wildest dreams, yet it felt so right. The love he carried was otherworldly, as was the heaven he showed me, full of children playing carefree, unafraid of consequences, and feeling completely loved. One of the churches I frequented weekly progressed to have a hands-on healing event, which my father quickly dubbed as hocus pocus, though he did allow me to attend. At 10, my bleeding ulcers were causing me significant pain. The circle of people on the altar was unlike anything I had ever experienced at church. And when it was my turn for healing, my body went limp as the Spirit of Christ entered, filled me, and healed me completely of my ulcers. The news of my healing made my mom weep. My father said he was happy if that's what I chose to believe had happened. After, afraid of ending up in a straitjacket, I kept most of my experiences with others to myself and a close friend or two. I had an uncanny ability to read people, feel their emotions, and see parts of their lives they never shared with anyone. My guides would nudge me to share aspects and points of view with people who had never voiced their desire, only secretly wished it was true. It was often helpful in changing their lives for the better when they chose to act. It's funny how change can lie within us, just waiting for validation and action. Not that my confirmation is what created the difference. No, I just pointed it out. Their willingness to claim it and then act on it is what made the change. I was just the conduit who cared. Meeting Lazaris in my late 20s was like walking into a well-lit curiosity shop with the most caring and attentive shopkeeper. All the gifts of magic he shared blew me away. How to manifest your reality, create and work with trust, spiritual empowerment, releasing your martyr, to name a few. What a gift. Lazaris gave me love, encouragement, and acknowledgement with such care. His compassion was at a depth I'd only experienced a few times in those brief moments with Jesus. My heart full, my soul and spirit excited beyond measure, I took off like an Olympic runner. I would listen to the tapes first, allowing their words to permeate. Then I would write them word for word. Transcribing the cassettes and videos helped me to integrate them more. Then I would write them again, summarizing and putting them into my own words as much as possible. This step was so hard. Lazaris always chose the perfect words. The words I always chose seemed to pale in comparison, but I slowly got better at it. In the 90s, Lazaris came out with the underlying truths, and oh, how their messages touched me. I wrote them verbatim repeatedly, feeling that they belonged in the Bible to be studied and applied by all. There were the monthly energies, the rhythms and patterns, which were recordings of discussions and meditations released about the theme of the year. I took to them like water, finding my grace, joy, and purpose. I'd rewrite them and then create a project around them to help me integrate the knowledge into wisdom. I began sharing my process with friends and then their friends. Then a group of us started the co-op in 2005. Lazaris helped and guided me every step of the way. Lazaris is an integral part of my life and my best friend since the late 80s. One of my favorite pieces he shared was about creating your stew with the buffet of ingredients life offers. Creating my stew was exciting, as there were pieces from what I learned that would stick with me like glue. I allowed certain things to help change my life for the better. This technique was so inclusive. I gathered and added all the love. I added the rituals from childhood, knowledge and passion for indigenous ceremonies into my cauldron. I mixed it in with my love for numbers and their secrets, my connections with the fairies and their mysterious spirits. I added the nurturing I felt from nature, and I sprinkled some of the magic I connected from the Hebrew, Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism, Islam, paganism, atheism, and so much more. I poured in what touched my soul, and the stew in my cauldron became thick, rich, and savory and sweet. What a catch-all soup. Exactly the inclusive list we built the co-op on. My love for Lazaris and the love found in everything coming together to love, support, and grow in magic and joy. It filled me, it fed me, it healed and rejuvenated me. Lazaris never told me I had to drop or do anything. Spiritual growth is not an either or. If you like it and it works for you, well, fantastic. If it causes you pain, doesn't work, or resonate with you, don't do it. There are ideas and options for healing pain, releasing, forgiving, and more. So unique and different than the rules on rules on rules that I learned as a child. The pain from exclusiveness never felt kind, and it didn't feel that it aligned with what I felt Jesus said or what he showed me. So finding Lazaris and the love that they shared was far more than a dream come true. It was a key to creating a new and wonderful life. I kept all my magical experiences from childhood, my adventures with the seen and unseen. I delved into indigenous ceremonies and teachings offered monthly at the co-op by Rebecca Cute Hands, a co-founder of Cherokee descent. I loved the connections with Pachamama and the directions and those who came before us in great mystery. Though I didn't understand them, I always felt close to Judaism. I fell head over heels when I stumbled upon the meditations in the book Illumination by Dolores Ashcroft Nowosky. So vivid and pure were my connections with these beings of the characters. They filled my room, my heart, and my entire being. Having loved learning of several of the many gods of Hinduism, I felt incredibly blessed to witness a young Hindu child pray on the indigenous prayer stick created for world love and healing. Her prayers carried a passion and a connection to these deities that was so authentic and intense that I wept from the beauty of it. I had made the sacred piece in a ceremony Rebecca held. Over the next several years, over 500 people would add their prayers for the world to that ceremonial stick. My love for Ganesh and their love for me shows up all over my life. Kali has lovingly beheaded my ego and reminded me of my truth. Lakshmi and her many gifts have touched me repeatedly. Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion, embraced me and kept me safe from myself as I whirled about in the unknown. Her heart is so profound and her love so bright. I had embraced Mary in my youth, but she had been off limits to make sacred. Sufism I discovered in dance. I always loved to twirl. As a child, I would twirl and spin until I nearly fell over, and then found myself in my mom's chair that also turned. I didn't break it, no matter my parents' fears. It altered my senses. Although I didn't consciously realize the importance, I do believe the benefit profoundly impacted me. It was years later that I found pieces that correlated. Since I can remember, I've loved sitting quietly in nature, listening to the spirits of the earth and the elements. Later, I found it to be inclusive with paganism. I loved creating potions, elixirs, and mud pies. My love for Buddhism came with that same quiet, a gift of kindness. Remembering many in my lifetimes has helped me connect to many religions and spirituality. Kindness matters, I believe, and to dedicate your life to that was what I was doing. I always wanted to shave my head like a Buddhist nun. I knew it would help me stay better connected with God, Goddess, all that is. It was never acceptable with any of my partners. They all loved my golden locks and wouldn't hear of it. So when my last unhealthy relationship ended, I held a ceremony and invited 12 guests. Within that ceremony, a few dear friends carried out 7 sacred rituals. It was profound to release the past I held in my hair, the hair that I had always allowed others to control since my childhood. I felt empowered at a much different level than I had ever known. I kept it bald or near bald for 5 years. Now I shave half as I live in both worlds.
Mhm.
And what a tremendous help to keep me physically warm or cold, whatever I desire. So true. During this time, I took to wearing scarves on my head. You could often find me wearing a turban or a scarf, looking very much like a Sufi or a Muslim, or how I learned to picture Mary. I found great comfort in it and understood why some Muslims chose to wear it. I had been wearing a scarf on my neck for years to help me stay connected to spirit. I dressed in long, flowy hippie skirts, fun blouses, and kick-ass, one-of-a-kind jewelry I collected from the incredibly gifted artists at the co-op. I loved expressing myself through dress, and at the same time, I longed for the simplicity of a uniform, somewhat like the Buddhist nuns would wear. My uniforms would incorporate all the things I loved and found comfortable, for comfort was most important for me. And oh, how I love the textures of cotton, linen, and silk. The only problem is I'm color challenged, perhaps not wholly colorblind, but to this day, I often find my loved ones shaking their heads at what I put together. I dress only in a single colored leggings, a silk shirt, and moccasins for over a decade. My uniform would come in several colors I love, and I did not have to think about matching. All of the companies would match accordingly. I made drawing of my outfits, and there are many pieces, and perhaps one day I'll create them or have them commissioned. Some of my favorite people are atheists, though they do not call on or believe in God. They believe in a universal power. They are magnificent people who honor others, do good work in the communities and show kindness and love. I have been honored by their presence and know them to be incredible examples of human beings. I don't believe God got us all it is to be narrow-minded like Catholicism, Adventism, or dozens of other religions teach. I don't think God got us cares what religion or non-religion you follow. I believe in being kind, honest, generous, loving, compassionate, forgiving, etc. All these virtues and more lie in our hearts filled with grace. That is how we connect to the divine, by whatever name one uses. The membership in the co-op is inclusive, and the people from all faiths, beliefs, political views, and genders participate in the endeavor of committing to work in their integrity, honoring and respecting all people. We feel we are creating a map for the new world by creating a space of belonging to show how with grace, integrity, respect, and compassion, all people of all the world can work together with dignity. These are staples in my cauldron. What's in yours?
Thank you, Dana. Thank you. Let's just take a moment again and just let that all wash over you for a little bit before we start. Okay. Thank you. So inspiring, Dana and LeeAnn, to hear your stories. And now I'd like to open it up for some discussion. If people just want to talk about your impressions or how it made you feel or thoughts. A couple of things I just want to recognize. We have 6 Voices of Magic authors here, right? Dana, LeeAnn, Robert, Carol, Janice, and myself. And Elizabeth, who was an advanced reader for our books, both of them. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. That was wonderful for you to do that. And then Celeste once did a wonderful interview with myself and, Celeste and Dana hosted an interview with myself and Pam and Patricia. So it's just wonderful to have a whole bunch of people who've been so involved in different aspects of things. So thank you. And now I'd just like to open it up for discussion about the stories we heard tonight.
Well, I loved them. Oh, sorry. Did you want to go, Elizabeth?
No, you can go. I'll wait my turn.
I'd love it out. Yeah, it was lovely, really lovely to hear both stories. And I have to say that as I was listening to your story, Dana, a memory came back. When I was in my 20s, I used to like to wear a scarf around my head when it started to get cool in the fall here. So you like a silk scarf, right? A square, and you put it into a triangle and tie it around your it's in Yiddish it's called a babushka. And I really enjoyed wearing my babushka. But I got so much criticism that I stopped wearing it and I've never worn it again. And I don't know why. It was just something that came naturally. It connected me to my grandmother. I don't know, it's just something I started to do one day and then I just stopped because it was unacceptable. So you have now inspired me to.
There's a sign I do for that. I love that. I did those too when I was little. My grandma, you would always have one on when she went to church, and we had the little ones, and that was one of my favorite parts. The outfit, So that's funny. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that. Yay.
Thank you, Janice. And now, Elizabeth, it's your turn.
Hello. Wear your babushka proudly, Janice. Come on.
Yes, you bet I will.
So I wanted to thank both of you. It was such a pleasure to read your stories when I read the book, but to hear you both say it aloud, to hear your voice instead of my interpretation of your voices in my head. was really special. And LeeAnn, I was particularly touched by the emotion of yours, which I felt when I read it, but to have your emotions so vivid in this reading was quite touching and beautiful. And I just wanted to say thank you to both of you for your vulnerability and sharing, you know, deeply personal, but at the same time, rather universal truths that I think many people will benefit from in reading or hearing, because sometimes hearing it is even more potent, which I think was evident tonight. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to both of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, E. I thought it was great to hear you read too, LeeAnn, and it was, it's so powerful, and so many people are gifted that sight and that life, you know, after such a close call with death, and to have it worded the way you worded it so gracefully, and with the experience, and bringing in all the different factors, from the live people to the dead people to the, you know, Lazaris teaching to, you know, all this kind of stuff. I think it's a broad net, because I think a lot of people can relate to that. And I'm just really glad you wrote it and shared it with us.
Yeah.
So
I was able, and I think it was a gift, because it was, that's why I got caught up in it. I lived it so vividly that it brings me right back there. I can feel it and sense it. And like Lazaris says, time is an illusion, and it just all.
Well, I haven't read my second story yet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So go, brave one.
Yeah.
And Dana, I would like to say thank you just for sharing, and knowing you as deeply as I do. Just hearing you talk about that beautiful, just your hair, everything. I remember your hair. You had the most glorious long. When she came into the bookstore, this tiny little perfect fairy of a thing came in, and her hair was all the way down below her bum. Just the prettiest thing ever. And she had the prettiest hair always. But it was the one thing that everybody controlled you with.
Yeah.
And the bravery that it took you to do what you did with that. I just celebrate you.
I like it like that, because it's, you know, I can put it up and it doesn't touch my neck. It's so nice.
Yeah, that's wild.
I think it's
That's
absolutely
great.
wonderful. So
Best of both worlds.
absolutely.
Just
But
like
just
the
the
like
vulnerability that you took from that is intense. So thank you very much.
I'm struck by the creativity in both of your lives, that in some ways comes from, well, your gifts and you yourself, the courage to live such a life of creativity and using your gifts. You know, I mean, I think that takes a lot of courage, you know, and it's inspiring and really,
Courage
really
or
amazing.
craziness. The other
Huh?
I said courage or craziness, whichever it is, it just is who we are, right?
Yeah.
Authenticity, you should say.
I didn't know you could stop it. I didn't know how
Yeah.
not to hear the voices until I moved up to Prescott. And then I did like 15 ceremonies every morning to block it out, because I would hear everything. And when the Boogans know you can hear them, they're all talking. I had like 15 conversations going on in my head all of them.
Dana, I can remember, and this is going way back, going through a grocery store with you and losing you in the store and turning around, and you were talking to boxes of cereal.
And I was what?
Talking to the boxes of cereal. And I'm like, everything's on. But then it hit me, because I started hearing the same ones that you were hearing. And I'm like, oh, that's right. Do you remember the conversation? And we ended up, I don't remember what we made that night, but we had one heck of a story to tell of the box of cereal. Yeah, that's been going
Sounds like
on
another
30-some
story
years.
to write.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like another story
But
to
you were
go on
talking
to
with
write.
these beings that were coming in, and for some reason they were using those boxes of cereal at the store.
Oh my
It was a Fry's, I believe. Yeah.
I don't remember that. I remember going there for one of our trips to Prescott, being in one of the hotels, and I went up to see the room. And I turned and I saw you and Josh walking up the stairs to come see, except that you were both still downstairs. And I'm like, how's she doing that? Astral projecting up the
Yeah.
stairs. So that was
I was
wild.
gonna check it out, make sure my kid was gonna be safe there, you know?
Right?
Got to do the thing, yeah.
Fun time.
And
Yeah.
let me say, so Dana, the inclusiveness and variety that you have there kind of, and now that I'm thinking of it, it reminds me of a Walt Whitman poem where he just goes on and on and on and on and on about this and that and the other thing and this and that, that you have so many, connections and appreciations for so many religions and relationships with like religious figures, is just overwhelming in the nicest way. It's like abundance. It's a certain kind of spiritual abundance that you allow yourself to like have these relationships, that you have this sensibility, that the feelings that you have and the warmth that you have, and then that you can even name so many religious figures is like, oh my God, to me.
Well, when you hear about things and then you can see and touch things like immediately, it's like they're just there. I remember when I picked up that Dolores book, it was like Alf was standing in my room, and the presence it literally blew me away. I mean, not it just blew me away, like for like a week. It was for a week I was transported just with the presence of that character and things like that. So it's not like it would be like meeting them in person, I would suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Well, it speaks to me of some kind of really superpowered imagination, and I don't mean imagination. And what I love about Lazaris is how he says, we say just imagination. It's not just imagination. It's like imagination is powerful, like truly, truly powerful. And I guess I think of that as a superpowered imagination, that it's that even that much more kind of real and sensuous and alive for you. That's what comes to mind.
It's still one of the visions that comes to me is like laying on my porch, looking through the cracks and talking with the rocks and having conversations and not realizing that I've been there for an hour or something, like, I don't know. Yeah, everything talks. If you listen.
What I
but just in
appreciated,
abundance.
what I
I'm sorry, go ahead.
appreciated, that's right, about both of your stories is how you connected your experiences with Lazaris, and how Lazaris helped to embellish and grow
Save my life.
who and what you are. Yeah. And so I could hear that thread through both of your stories. And Dana, your ending, because as Mary said, there was this and there was this and there was this and there was this and there was this, but then at the end you were like, that's what I put in my cauldron. What do you put in yours? And I'm like, oh my God, such a perfect ending for that story. And so just that was pretty cool. And how both of you, LeeAnn, your kind of big awakening was when you were transitioning to the other side and you were sent back, and then you let yourself be who you were, and then let, of course, Lazaris help you with that. And so it's just so cool to me that, and maybe it's not to other people, that experience, because that's, those are similar things that happen for me, that we have to kind of get pushed to the edge before we finally make that leap. And I just really appreciated how you could put together how you made your leap and what helped support you through that. So yeah, both stories were really amazing. I got goosebumps with both.
Thank you, Celeste. So beautiful. Thank you, everybody. guys are
Thank
so
you all for
kind and
being here and
supportive.
listening.
Now, let me just remind us, back in December is when LeeAnn and Rob both read their stories. And the interesting, wonderful thing they did a switch up on us is Robert read LeeAnn's story and LeeAnn read Robert's story. And it was just so beautiful. I just needed to mention that. That's all. So it was nice, though, also, LeeAnn, to hear you read your own story and to see, you know, how it affects you. And like you said, how it brought you right back there. And it's like, it's powerful to read our own stories.
Still the absolute
Yeah.
best blending I've ever had. I can close my eyes and still feel that just so intense blending. And if I could just get that across to people, it's like, it's life-changing. Life-changing.
Totally.
Mhm.
True that. And we have more next month. We have
Okay,
Miss
yeah, talk about next
Elizabeth. Elizabeth is up and she's doing the frequency fix. And I'm going to read what she just wrote. Resonance is a superpower. Use it to create the life you want. Why your vibe actually matters more than you think. Your energy isn't just felt, it's heard by the universe. And this exploration of resonance will uncover how your frequency shapes you and how to shift it with clarity and intention to create the life you want. There will be a guided meditation to help you clear, calibrate, and call in what's truly meant for you. I'm so excited for that.
Wonderful.
It's like such perfect time. We can all use a little boost on our frequency shift. So, is there anything you wanted to say more about that, Eve?
I need to rewrite the copy.
I didn't even mess it up bad, did I?
No, you didn't mess it up at all. You know, just when you hear it out loud, you know, when you just read it and then you hear it out loud, you're like, I'm gonna change something.
Yeah, till Monday morning.
That's right. I have until Monday morning at 8 a.m. to make my changes. No, I don't have, I was just sort of teasing, but I do need to change a few things. But I do think that, you know, sometimes we forget how easily we can shift and, you know, like in the blink of an eye, because we can, because this is an illusion. So when we remember that and we can use resonance to do that or to shift a situation, then it makes everything that much more fun. And we're here to do that. And also it makes things more harmonious, which our world is in need of right now.
Indeed.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
And anybody that knows Elizabeth's meditations are always off the hook. So we're glad she'll be sharing some more with us as she does.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Mary, for hosting this and for
thing.
starting this whole project and for taking that leap of faith. I mean, for those who don't know Mary, she's been in marketing and advertising through a bank, but this was a whole different ball of wax for her, and it's always about taking that leap of faith when we hit the next step, isn't it? Right? Because everybody told me the co-op would fail within the first 1 to 3 months, maybe 3. Dana, you're cute. You might last 3 months. You know, I'm like 20 years, buddy. Oops, I probably shouldn't be doing that on recording. But it's who I am. So, like it or not.
That's great. Well, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Dana, for asking. And it was wonderful to hear everybody's stories and to see everybody, of course.
Yes.
And we'll see you again another Wednesday.
Thank you for your nice stories. Bye.
See you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
I forgot to hit record stop. Yay.